Right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the December 21st, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone would please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is our Vice President, Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis and our County Administrator, Mike Fromer. And Sarah DeNova is our clerk today. Again.
You get me next week.
That's right. Oh, boy.
You'll be here on Monday?
Resolution number 17-1338, and the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceeding from regular meeting held December 18th, 2017. So moved.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-1338. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Aye. Mr. Britton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment this morning. Next on our agenda is Paula Roller, Director of Turning Point.
Good morning.
Welcome.
I'm here to update you on our progress of bringing a domestic violence shelter here to Delaware County. As you may or may not know, we are the oldest and largest rural shelter in Ohio. We have been providing domestic violence services to Delaware County since our inception in 1979. In fact, the first family we housed in our shelter in Marion was from Delaware County. Our shelter is physically located in Marion. We serve the counties contiguous to Marion: Wyandotte, Crawford, Morrow, Delaware, and Union. So Marion was the geographic center of our service area. As we all know, Delaware has grown over these last almost 40 years that we have been in operation. So now we are renovating property at 500 North Liberty Street to bring a domestic violence shelter here to Delaware, which is now the center of our population area. We purchased the property a little over 2 years ago. It was formerly used as the children's home, built in the 70s. It was repurposed over the years. Most recently was used by a church. There is a large pole building on the property. We'll use that for storage. There will be kennels there for household pets. The two buildings are being renovated. The only new construction will be a connector to connect the two brick buildings so that they are one. Since we are a domestic violence shelter, we are all about safety and security. So there will be one front door. With this property came about 7.5 acres. At the present time, the connector is built, the roof is on. The interior of the buildings were gutted down to the framing. And the plumbing is going in even as we speak. I drove by there this morning on my way here. We've completely gutted the interior of those buildings. Between the two buildings, and there's a roll to the land there, there's a lower level in each building. There are approximately 13,000 and some square feet. Not quite 14,000, between the two buildings and the two levels. The lower level of the building on the west side will be all children all the time. We have a children's coordinator. The offices will be down there, a play area for children, gaming area and that kind of thing for teenagers. That will open out onto a playground. The upper level will have 8 bedrooms, the kitchen, living area, that kind of thing. One unit will be fully ADA compliant. The second building will have 3 mini apartments, kind of efficiency apartments. They will be transitional housing. People can stay in those units up to 1 year. In addition, there will be 2 more bedrooms in the east building. The large room to the back that in the shelter building will be the living dining room, kind of a great room thing, will be in the other building used as a conference room and a place for meetings with our clients, as well as a place for our staff to meet, our board to meet. The lower level of that building is not all spoken for, so to speak. There is a group of interested women who have been in the retail business, enjoy fashion, and are going to put a shop down there for our clients where they can shop for new clothing and be actually fitted and not just things that you take what is there, so to speak. We kind of a place for them to be pampered, and they'll do makeup and prepare them for maybe a court date or a job interview. So I would imagine that the rest of that space, over time, it gives us expansion, a place to put additional staff as we grow. With the 13 bedrooms, we, in our ideal world, have 4 people to a bedroom. We do not live in the ideal world. Oftentimes, we have more than 4 people in a bedroom. If we use a pack and play for a baby or little toddlers, you can get a couple in a bed, that's what we do. The capacity, we say, is 52 people, but that is the same capacity at our shelter in Marion. So we know we have gotten 55, 58, 60 people in the shelter when necessary. So we are absolutely doubling our capacity. So we are on target to have our the construction, the renovation done by the end of April. Our fiscal year starts July 1. And it is my goal, my hope, that we would plan on being fully operational July 1. That's a nice target date, coincides with the fiscal year. It will take us time to furnish the buildings and stock them and get ready for to be able to take actual families into the shelter. We have already hired 2 full-time people, the 2 key employees for supporting our clients, 2 advocates, the children's advocate, and the other is called a resident coordinator. She is the advocate for the adults in the shelter. Those 2 positions are filled. We brought them on board over a year ago in order that they have time to work in a shelter. It is very difficult to find people who have shelter experience, so we wanted to make sure that they were well versed in shelter life. So we will be doing hiring after the first of the year and start training the staff necessary for this new location. We have a $3.2 million goal for our to meet the costs and expenses of this renovation. We are at about $2.2 million with several very large asks out there. So I think we're very close to meeting our goal. So I'm very confident we will do that. We're excited to be here. We've enjoyed great support. And as you may or may not know, the United Way of Delaware County has been our partner in raising these funds. While we may have served the community, the domestic violence victims in this community, we have not been physically located here and didn't have the contacts to run a campaign of this size. So they offered very generously to open their donor list to us and help us in this effort. And without them, we would not have been successful. As you probably know, we are supported also by the Delaware Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. We receive levy dollars. We are not a mandated service for that agency, but they've always supported us. Also, we get support from you through your marriage license, divorce, dissolution fees, and we appreciate that. Any questions? I've left you a little brochure there we use in our capital campaign that answers many questions. Carol O'Brien is here. She and Sheriff Martin are both honorary chairs of our capital campaign committee, and they have been very helpful in expressing the need. They see the need every day for why there should be a domestic violence shelter here in Delaware.
I do have a question, just kind of a basic question. This shelter, will it serve just Delaware County citizens or the whole region?
No, it serves anyone who is a victim of domestic violence, as does our current shelter. But also, when I talk about our service area, it's more about where we get funding: marriage license, divorce, dissolution fees, United Way funding. Our main source of income is VOCA, Victims of Crime Assistance, federal dollars flowing through the Attorney General's office here in Ohio. That requires us to take any victim of domestic violence, regardless of where they're from. So sometimes people want to flee. They want out of Dodge, if you know what I mean. We've had people from West Virginia, Arizona, Montana, Wyoming, wherever. So the borders are gone, is in that sense. So no, it would be open to whoever. But one of the things we know, and the sheriff expresses this very well, is oftentimes people don't want to leave their community. They may have a job here, children in school. They may have a support group. They don't. Marion seems like a million miles away. And if they have the resource right here, they are more apt to use the shelter services.
Okay.
Just a couple, first of all, I've taken a tour of your Marion facility and a couple of years ago.
Yeah? You came to picnic.
I did. And I assume this facility will be comparable.
It will. It's laid out very differently because it is two levels, where our facility now was built as an assisted living facility, so it's all one floor. But it's amazing, but it's about the same square footage, but just laid out differently. So it's very comparable.
And I'm trying to grapple with how to say this. It's not a problem. You currently have 13 rooms which you keep full, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So you're going to be doubling your capacity. Is the need great enough that you're going to be fulfill that capacity? Is that?
I believe so. One of the things that we have noticed is it's kind of a build it and they will come thing. There are people who would access shelter if it were here that aren't. But they are accessing other services, and I don't want to take up too much time. One of the main services, we call the shelter the ICU of our services, but we have what we call victim rights advocates who help folks get access legal aid services, an attorney on a reduced fee or pro bono basis. We transport them to and from appointments. We help them access job and family services, the resources that are available there. We advocate for them on all of these levels. We will accompany them to those meetings as well as transport them. More people use that service than the shelter. They may have resources. We helped well over 200 people through that program alone here in Delaware last year who did not access shelter. I think there were times they should have, but they didn't. So again, I see no problem in filling it up. Well, I don't want to fill it up, and making it use that it would.
The need is there, what you're saying.
The need is there. It has been for some time.
I'm going to speculate, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you talk about all these other states. I'm going to guess that sometimes they may have family in this area.
Yes.
So having the facility close to them facilitates that support.
Yes. Oftentimes, you're right. There is a connection somewhere along the way, and sometimes they just go out on the web, that wonderful web, and find us. And I think that's really amazing. So, any other questions?
I'd like to thank you, Paula, for all your very hard work on this, and to our county prosecutor. Carol O'Brien and Sheriff Russ Martin among the leaders in this capital campaign. And I have had the privilege of touring the facility. It's been several months now, and I know there have been a lot of good upgrades. I know your security now is also enhanced. And
Yes, since we had a little vandalism. It could have been worse. I always try to look for that silver lining in that dark cloud, and could have been much worse. It's all fixable, and it did garner us a lot of free publicity. That's always good, but we never get publicity for free, and that garnered several $1,000s in donations, so, okay.
Oh, that's great.
Not that I am encouraging anyone to do that again, but at least find something positive. But I appreciate your kind words.
Sure.
And I'm honored to be part of this project. I'm thrilled to be that we're able as an agency to do this. It's long overdue.
It really is. It's sorely needed, sorely needed. Would our county prosecutor care to say a few words? First of all, I hope you're feeling better after your rotator cuff.
Depends on when I take the pain medication. I don't react well to pain medication, so I only take it at night, and I'm not driving, for those of you worried about that. The shelter is sorely needed, as you stated, Commissioner Benton. It is, or Commissioner, yeah, I didn't take any pain medication this morning, I promise. It is only 1 week post-surgery. The shelter is sorely needed in Delaware County. Paula has been keeping that shelter up there fully filled, and ministering and helping hundreds, if not thousands, of men, women, and children through this process of domestic violence. And being a victim of domestic violence is probably one of the most horrible things that can ever happen. Those folks who are supposed to love you the most and the dearest are the ones who are turning on you and causing you emotional, physical, and psychological harm. And part of what the shelter purpose is to put an end to the cycle. And that would be so wonderful if we could use this shelter and Turning Point up in Marion to end the cycle, at least for some of these women. If we can save some of these women, some of these children, and some of the men who are involved in it too. For too long, domestic violence was the hidden secret. Everyone knew that it was going on. No one wanted to talk about it. The myths that were out there, well, why is she staying? It can't be that bad. Why isn't he leaving? And Paula always likes to turn around and says, why shouldn't she? Why should she leave? He should leave. She should stay. But unfortunately, the realities of the situation is if you find yourself in fear, you leave. So what I hope that this domestic violence shelter does in Delaware County is make it easier for the victims of domestic violence to come forward, to get the services they need, work through the system, and break the cycle. And please let us help our children learn that they don't have to live through the same cycle. So I appreciate your support on this. I think I've seen all of you at fundraisers, maybe at my house, for this Turning Point shelter. I truly believe in it, truly appreciate your support, and Delaware County's support has been phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's great that it's nearing completion. Sounds like we got a timeline that's going to work. So thanks for all the hard work. Okay, we'll move on.
Resolution number 17-1339, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PR 1220, memo transfers in batch numbers MTA PR 1220, and procurement card payments in batch numbers PCA PR 1220.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1339. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Aye. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1340, in the matter of approving the following list of carryover purchase orders for 2018.
So moved.
Discussion. Any comments? I know, there's a lot of carryovers. This is routine at year end. right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1340. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Aye. Resolution number 17-1341, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1341. Mrs. Lewis? Aye. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1342, in the matter of a new liquor license request from Aficionados LLC and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1342. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Aye. Resolution number 17-1343, in the matter of a new liquor license request from Sparrow Ventures LTD and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1343. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Aye. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1344, in the matter of accepting and approving the Delaware County Sheriff's Office Transport Report for the month of November 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1344. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1345, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Board of Directors of Delaware, Knox, Marion, Morrow Joint Solid Waste Management District and the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio, for the implementation of county recycling and litter prevention office services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I would like to just comment on this one. The DKMM board does track participation rate, I think is what they call this, and for some reason, and we don't really know why, Delaware County has about the lowest of the 4 counties in DKMM at, I think, somewhere around 10% of the potential product is being diverted, is being sent to the landfills. So I would just encourage the health district to work hard on this and try to get our participation rate up. So anyway, if my data is correct, and I think it is, they track it. So anyway, again, certainly need to do this, but I would hope that we can, as a county, we can get our participation rate up higher. So anyway, that's all I got. We'll go ahead and take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-1345. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1346, in the matter of retirement of the police dog Alex.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Scott Vance with the Sheriff's Office, Captain. Sorry, I know I'm not the one you wanted to see. Alex is already...
Hoping to see Alex. Where is Alex?
Alex apparently has already started some of his retirement and is at home right now. I will make arrangements to make him available, those who want to see him. I thought maybe I'd share a little bit with you about Canine Alex real quick. He's an 8-year-old German Shepherd. He was imported from the Czech Republic and trained with Excel Canine for tracking, article search, suspect apprehension, handler protection, and narcotics detection. Alex began his service with the Delaware County Sheriff's Office in 2010 and has served for 7 years with this office and his partner, Troy Gibson. Alex was medically retired by the Sheriff's Office on December 15th due to hip dysplasia and arthritis. During his service, Canine Alex had the following highlights in his career, and these are just a short snippet. He had a $316,000 cash seizure working with the Drug Task Force, $5,500 cash seizure from a parcel sweep with the Drug Task Force, 5 subject apprehensions as a result of a fleeing suspect. That doesn't count the countless tracks that he laid down, searching for articles, people missing, and so forth. Multiple narcotics located as a result of handler-initiated stops and deputy-initiated stops, and multiple appearances in public for public relation activities such as the Delaware County Fair and everything from the Boy Scouts to the Girl Scouts.
Well, anytime he wants to stop by.
I will relay that to his handler and make it happen.
Yeah.
8 years seems kind of young. Is this, I realize he has a medical issue, is this typical length of?
With the larger breed dogs, we anticipate usually a 7 to 10 year service life, depending on how they handle themselves. In this case, the hip dysplasia was unforeseen, did come in. You know, we have those medically checked when we first acquire the dog, but it happens. They do quite a bit of entry and exit from the cars, a lot of running, a lot of hard ground tracking, so there's a little wear and tear on them.
Yeah, well, thank Alex for his service on our behalf.
Well, he's looking forward to camping out on a couch back at his handler's house. He's going to keep you.
Oh, yes.
That's neat that we can find a good home for him then. Okay, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-1346. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Deputy Osborne.
Thanks,
Thank you, Captain.
Resolution number 17-1347, in the matter of approving the child placement services contract and addendum between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and child placement providers, and Buckeye Ranch Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Angela Thomas, Job and Family Services. This is our 2018 contract with Buckeye Ranch. We currently have one youth placed at Buckeye Ranch, and we are forecasting that youth will be there through the end of 2018. So we're calculating a cost of $2,760 a month for an annual cost of $34,000 for this contract.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1347. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1348, in the matter of approving the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and Royal Document Destruction Incorporated for the purpose of confidential document destruction services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We procured this contract by gathering quotes. The total one-year amount on this contract is only $2,000, but they come in, and we have bins located within the work area, and they come twice a month and collect all of our confidential data, and they shred that for us. So it's $2,000 a year. However, we're bringing it before you because it has multiple years permitted under the contract.
And this is JFS only,
Yes.
this
That's-
contract?
That's correct.
Yeah, I would wonder if John Melvin could take advantage of this and try to consolidate, but again,
Yeah, potentially.
no problem with going and approving this, but this is an example of where if we use countywide, confidential document shredding, we might get a better rate for everybody. So I'll encourage John to look into that. We'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-1348. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1349, in the matter of accepting a donation made to the Department of Job and Family Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning again. We're back for additional approval of donations that we've received for children and families around the holiday season. This particular donation, we received $5,000 I think it's mostly goods for families. We received, for instance, 542 pairs of socks. That's a lot of socks. Pajamas, outerwear, books, games, toys, all those kind of things for families. The Delaware Grace Brethren contributed $5,000. We received from the Natala family a $700 contribution. Carlisle Elementary School, $1,626. The Andrea Gebhardt family, $700, and from Smoky Road Children's Center, $1,365. So for this resolution here, the total donated is $9,391. To date for the holiday season, we've brought before you $36,208.87.
Wow. Yeah, very, very generous on behalf of a number of people in the community. It's
Very
great.
generous.
Says something about our county and the generosity of
It does. It
Yes.
does. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1349. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.
Resolution number 17-1350, in the matter of approving a contract of sale and purchase between Matthew T. Penza and Jessica L. Penza and the Board of Delaware County Commissioners for DEL-CR14-1.23.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. This contract for purchase of right-of-way is associated with our East Powell Road improvements, and we are recommending approval.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1350. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1351, and the matter approving a supplemental appropriation for the Engineers Office Sawmill Parkway project. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This supplemental appropriation is for the final pay invoice for the Sawmill Parkway project to Truco Construction. Very pleased to report that that project came in about $1.9 million under budget, and unfortunately a little bit behind schedule because of the utility issues we had during construction, but total cost of about $28.5 million for the project. I can't say enough good things about Truco Construction. It was great having a local firm actually build that project. Communication with Truco throughout the project was great. Quality of work was great. So we're very pleased with how the project ended. So glad to put that one behind us and move on to the next one.
Oh, yeah.
There's certainly more to do.
Yes.
The communication with the utility company wasn't quite as good.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
anyway, it's
I'd like
behind
to-
us, right?
It is behind us. You're right, Commissioner.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1351. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Rob.
Resolution number 17-1352, and the matter of approving a compensation adjustment for certain employees under the direction of the Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Dawn Houston, Assistant County Administrator. This resolution identifies those that are eligible for the 3% compensation adjustment that was approved in the 2018 budget that was passed earlier this week, and the process for which those increases occur, and I recommend your approval.
No further discussion? We'll vote.
Vote on motion 17-1352. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-1353, and the matter of approving a supplemental appropriation, transfer of appropriation, transfer of funds, advancement of funds, and repayment of advance.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Cy Kelly, Deputy Administrator. This is part of our year-end cleanup. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on this.
A lot of adjustments and transfers and so on, but nothing out of the ordinary.
I work with the auditor's office on these numbers, so we anticipate one more next week to tie up the rest of the loose ends.
Okay. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1353. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Kai, while you're standing, I just want to say thank you for representing United Regional Planning due to a conflict, and we had another meeting at the same time, so thank you.
Not a problem.
And I must say thank you, too, to Bob Lamb, since you mentioned regional planning. He's representing me.
Did you want to take care of other business now or after?
Well, we do have a couple items of other business, but we do have executive session, and I think the attorney is here.
Well, but
Yes, however, we do have a couple items for
we've got Natalie and Chris.
Well, that's what the attorney is here, though. These will go quickly, I would think. Okay, we'll go ahead and,
I think we
Yeah.
go ahead with this.
okay, we can go ahead with we got a couple other items of
Yeah.
other business. So we'll go ahead with those.
Resolution number 17-1354, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Board of Commissioners, Delaware County, the Clerk of Courts, Delaware County, Ohio, and Courtview Justice Solutions Incorporation, doing business as equivalent regarding restitution payments.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Christopher Betts with the Delaware County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, along with Natalie Frabel, Delaware County Clerk of Courts. I appreciate you taking this in advance of the executive session, and I'd like to think we saved the best for last, but really this is not all that splashy of a thing, and not quite as exciting as the retirement of a dog. So in any event, this is a situation with Courtview, who operates our court docketing system for the Delaware County Clerk of Courts. and there was an error in their software system whereby a defendant that was paying restitution, the system indicated that the restitution was paid in full, when in fact only $200 on the restitution was paid. That generated the clerk, or caused the clerk to generate a check to the victim, which overpaid the victim in advance of the full restitution actually being paid by the defendant. This agreement is between Courtview and the clerk in the commissioner's office to have Courtview go ahead and advance the funds to the clerk's office. The overpayment was actually in the amount of about $9,000 and some change. However, the victim graciously agreed to go ahead and repay $5,000 of that to the clerk of court's office, leaving about $4,200 that needed to be repaid. This agreement will allow Courtview to go ahead and repay that amount so that the victim does not have to do that. It fills the hole in the clerk's office where that money was missing, and it will allow the victim to continue to be paid the restitution as it comes in from the defendant. He'll be allowed to go ahead and keep the $4,200 that was actually advanced, but it will continue to allow him to receive payments as it comes in from the defendant on that $5,000 that he repaid. Once he is fully repaid, then the agreement calls for our prosecutor's office requesting the clerk or the court go ahead and change the payee in the restitution entry so that Courtview will be actually repaid, but they're in the secondary position after the victim. The victim will be paid in full first, and then Courtview will get their money back as the defendant continues to pay it.
I'm sure glad you explained that, Chris.
Actually, I think the memo was easy to understand.
I'm sorry, it's a convoluted process.
I know, yeah.
I understood the memo, I'm not sure I understood the explanation.
I'm sorry.
If I interpret it correctly, basically, everybody's going to be even when it's all said and done.
Yes.
And the vendor's making up the...
Correct.
The vendor has admitted fault from the very beginning, and it's just taken 6 months for them to come up with this agreement. So, does anybody have any questions about the process of it, or
I should note that the vendor indicates that the software error is corrected now, so that this won't happen again. I should also indicate that the clerk's office has made some changes in their office so that this won't happen again. There'll be some additional checks and balances to make sure that there isn't a check generated when there shouldn't be.
So we are not fully relying on the 2 separate reports that we get from Courtview on a weekly and monthly basis, so.
Okay. Sounds like a good resolution. And protect the county and the victim. So, all right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1354. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One more item, resolution number 17-1355, in the matter of terminating the service agreement between Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Exceligent Incorporated. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Bob Lamb, Economic Development Director for the county. Before you is a request to terminate Exceligent Inc.'s contract with the county for services. Exceligent is our site selection database. We use them to look up available properties and land throughout the county. They have filed for bankruptcy. They did so on December 14th. We issued them our check for next year's of service on November 9th. So we're working with the prosecutor's office to try to secure that payment back if any is possible. But we would like to terminate this agreement since they are going into bankruptcy.
I assume per terms of the agreement that we are permitted to do that.
Correct.
They filed for bankruptcy.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
They're not protected under the bankruptcy. We'll be able to get our money back.
We're working with the prosecutor's office. I can't tell you we'll be able to recover everything or how long that will take.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1355. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And that brings us to administrative reports.
Okay.
I have nothing to.
I don't think I have anything.
Commissioner Lewis?
Except I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
All right.
A very Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Commissioner Merrill?
Real quickly, Commissioner Benton and I had the privilege of attending Source Point's Community Partners event yesterday, and every year they do a great job of recognizing people who've made a difference in our community as it relates to SourcePoint. And the only other thing I have, I ran into Farzan Ahmed, and he asked that I pass on Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to his Delaware family, as he quoted it, so if I might say it specifically. He seems to be very happy doing what he's doing, and we talked for roughly an hour. So the only other thing I have, I think we all got a Christmas present yesterday with the passage of the tax changes, and I think I'm excited about what that will do. And indirectly, I think it will help our county, because I think you'll see more sales tax revenue because of that, because I think people having more money in their pocket will ultimately spend some portion of that in our county, and so I think that's a victory for a lot of people. So that's all I have.
Yeah, and on the business side of that, the business tax restructuring and rate lowering makes us more competitive internationally, much more competitive internationally, which will be good for the whole country as well as Delaware County. So I think, again, big day for the U.S. economy.
In, what was it, 30 years?
Yes.
1986?
Yeah, when
This
Reagan...
is the first major tax reform since that time, so...
Right.
So.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything else other. SourcePoint is going to have a levy on their renewal comes up next year, so or their existing levy expires next year, so they will presumably go forward with a renewal, and we'll see that. SourcePoint just does a great job for to help those 55 and over thrive. Thrive after 55, I think is their motto. So again, they do a really nice job. That's it. I also want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We do have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 17-1356, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment, compensation of a public employee or public official, and for collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1356. Mr. Britton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session. Nothing again, Mike?